Hey guys, welcome back. In case you missed the last videos, my name is Julia Larish and I'm here to answer your questions. I found a lot of my clients have questions that they want a quick answer to, so I wanted to reach out to you guys and answer those questions that you might have. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell. Subscribe! Okay, so diving right in, the first question that I got was, what are the 3 biggest misconceptions I get from my clients? The first I would say generally in meeting people is they first think they're not eating enough, or that's what they're saying. The reason they're overweight is they're not eating enough. What I've found is that is sometimes true. Generally what happens is they don't eat enough during the week, and then they binge on weekends, and so they actually find themselves in a major calorie surplus without realizing it. But the other part of that is that portion sizes have gotten out of control, and so a lot of times we think, oh, we're not eating enough, when really we have no idea how many calories we're really eating in that portion size. One of the best examples I've gotten is when I had one of my clients start to measure out their nightly cereal routine, and they were shocked to find that their innocent bowl of cereal that they thought was about 250 calories total was actually closer to 700 calories that they were having of pure carbs right before they went to bed. So usually my first challenge in debunking that misconception is to have them start to measure their portion sizes. I don't love measuring all the time because I don't think it's sustainable for life, but I do think it helps to get a grasp on what a real portion size is, what half a cup of starches really looks like, what 6 ounces of meat really looks like, and then you can get a more realistic view of whether you're eating enough or not. The second misconception, especially lately with the ketogenic diet really taking the world by storm, is that carbs are bad for you. The short answer to that is it depends. So usually I'm always recommending some sort of physical exercise with my clients just because my whole goal is healthy lifestyle. So if you are exercising, then you do have a need for carbs. If you're not exercising extremely intensely or very commonly, you might need less carbs, but I still believe that carbs are part of a complete diet. I don't think that cutting out any of the macronutrients is a long-term solution to health. And the third misconception that I generally get is that people plan their diet phases. So they want to go super strict, and so their goal is like, I'm going to be super strict, then I'm get to my goal weight, and then I can relax a little bit. When they come to see me, I think they're expecting me to just give them a really strict regimen that they can stick to. But my goal is lifestyle change. So I know, again, that keeping that lifestyle healthy comes with making actual habits and healthy habits, and not just restricting calories like crazy until you get to the number you want, and then going back off the deep end, and then you're gonna have to visit me again in another year when you put all your weight back on. So usually I find it's the black and white type personality where you're either all in or you're all out. Trying to train moderation and help people realize that moderation is possible, and that it's really the way to go and the only way to be able to maintain a healthy weight throughout the rest of your life. The second question I got was regarding collagen pills versus powder supplementation. And the short answer there would be the pills are not worth it. Generally, you're not going to absorb as much from in a pill form anyway. It just takes a little longer to break down. And most of the time, it's not the right type of collagen. So collagen has to be further broken down in order for us to absorb it. So meaning it has to be split into type 1, type 2, or type 3. And usually you'll find that what I look for is collagen peptides or hydrolyzed collagen that allows the body to break it down to where we can actually utilize it. And it's really hard to do that in a pill form. The other thing I'm looking for with collagen is, because it's not regulated by a third party, make sure that whatever source you choose has some sort of third party recognition. So they've tested it and made sure that it's a pure form of collagen. With supplements, it's really hard. Most stuff isn't regulated. People can put whatever they want almost on the labels, and so there's a lot of really bad options out there. I always go with Equip because I know that they're a company that has integrity. They don't add any anti-caking, any extra chemical stuff that is off-label that most supplement companies do add, and they are third-party recognized. My third question was, what are some easy-to-pack on-the-go snacks? One thing with snacks, I'm not a big snack person. Mainly, I think that if you are craving snacks between meals, you're not eating enough at the meal before. So kind of check that and see when you're getting those snack cravings and why you might be getting those. Really what I recommend is just eating a little bit more at the meal before, if that's feasible. For some people, like I know I work with some nurses and shift workers where their schedule's a little more unpredictable, they're on their feet, on the go, so they might need a little bit more of those snack options. So if it does come down to you needing some snacks, here's some of my go-tos. I kind of separated them into different categories. So more of like the fruits and veggies. Obviously fruits and veggies are the easiest snack to pack and they have the lowest calorie impact. So if you're going for weight loss, then I always recommend starting there. I love like clementines, baby carrots. These you can literally pack without putting in a bag. These you can just throw into a baggie. Apples. Costco also has those pre-sliced organic apples that are even easier. A lot of times I'll get the individual size cups. So they have like the individual peanut butter cups. They have the individual guacamole, individual hummus. So you can always include those as something to dip your veggies in, just to keep those veggies a little bit more interesting and flavorful. Next would be kind of the saltier category. So sometimes I'm craving more of that salty snack. I love to have plantain chips for that. You can do regular potato chips. There's a little bit more nutrient that you can find in a plantain versus a potato. And if you're trying to be a little bit stricter on your carb intake or your starchy intake, the plantains might be a better option. I also like to dip these in the guacamole sometimes, just as some added flavor and fat. These green pea snack crisps are one of my all-time favorites, partially because my kids love them. They're snap peas. They've been flash fried and they really have minimal ingredients in them, but they have a pretty high amount of protein. So this is one of the best snacks as far as having complete macronutrients. So there's some fat in there, there's some carbs, and there's some protein. So these are easy to just throw in a bag and go. Mixed nuts, of course, are always good. I love the trail mix, but you gotta watch out because a lot of times there's M&Ms and chocolate chips and all the delicious stuff in there. So usually I'll find like 1 or 2 different nuts that I like and just mix them up together and go from there. If you're getting roasted nuts, just check and make sure that there's no added oils into them. That can really increase that fat, and nuts already have their own natural fat, so you don't really need extra. Some of the other salty ones that I like to include are like the Popcornopolis from Costco. It's just popcorn popped in coconut oil with a little bit of salt. That's really easy to throw in a bag and grab. The nice thing about that too is the serving size is very generous. So if you're on more of that weight loss plan, it's nice because it feels like you get a lot more food for your snack for the calories that you get. Hard-boiled eggs are always good to grab if you're into that sort of thing. I've kind of OD'd in the past, so I don't do those as much anymore, but if you're an egg person and you like those, Costco also has organic, unpeeled, ready to go already in the packaging where you can just grab 2 at a time. So it makes it super convenient for you. And lastly, in that sweet category, I try not to do too many like dessert type snacks. So in my sweet category, I have more like the Siggi's yogurt. These tubes are nice. They do have a little bit of added sugar versus the cups, like the vanilla has no added sugar. But these are super convenient. If you don't have a spoon with you, you can just grab and go, and they're still really good. These Nana Pops are a newer thing. I got these at Costco, but it's like bananas, dates, all kinds of good stuff, and then inside is rolled with some nut butter. So that's good to grab and go, nice and easy. Perfect bars, of course, staple in my life all the time. Good morning.
What is that, Mommy?
These are really good options for a fruit snack or a fruit leather. I put these in my kids' lunches too. I sometimes use these as a quick pre-workout snack. They have minimal ingredients, no added sugar, and they're delicious. So those are always good options as well. My next question is, does apple cider vinegar really have all the health benefits it says? The short answer there would be no, unfortunately. There is some studies and evidence that might show that it can help some people with diabetes potentially. So, but really other than that, the weight loss claims and other things like that really don't have any legit studies to back it up. If you start to really research that, make sure you're looking at medical journals. And then also look deeper into the study. Did they study it in humans or in lab rats? How was the study actually applied and what results are they seeing from that? Sometimes, for example, the weight loss study showed that people that consumed apple cider vinegar lost more weight. They were also on a stricter diet, so they went into a calorie deficit and they exercised. So who's to say it's not that versus the apple cider vinegar? So make sure that you're looking at all the facts and seeing the whole picture. My answer would be enjoy it on salad and your dressings every once in a while, but that's probably it. My next question was, what are some quick breakfasts to grab on the go? So one of my favorites, dating back to, I think it was one of my very first posts I ever did, was the Kodiak pancakes. They're a little bit higher in protein. Now Costco also sells the paleo pancake mix, which I love, so you could always do that option if gluten doesn't really agree with you. But I'll make a huge batch of those pancakes on a Sunday and they'll last throughout the week. And then I'll get some pre-made sausage links from Applegate Farms. Peterson Farms also has a really good option that doesn't have any added sugar. And I'll heat those up in the microwave and roll those together with the pancake, so it's like a pig in a blanket. But you can throw that in a baggie and eat that on the go very easily. Also, smoothies are great. Sometimes just putting all the stuff into the smoothie is what takes the time in the morning. So I'll package all of the ingredients for the smoothie into Ziploc baggies and keep them in the freezer. So then the morning of, I just throw whatever my liquid is in my blender, open up one of those Ziplocs, and it will have all of my frozen fruit and spinach or kale or whatever else I'm adding in. And then I can just blend it up really quick and take it on the go. Another option is always, of course, hard-boiled eggs. Those are super easy and quick. I usually will pair that with some sort of fruit, so I have a little bit more complete meal of carbs, protein, and fat. I've also done the make-ahead muffins. You can find a lot of recipes on Pinterest for that, and really it's pretty simple. You can open up about a dozen eggs, throw in any vegetables, seasonings, whatever you like in your eggs, whisk it up, and then put them into little muffin tins and bake it. Then you have all these little pre-portioned eggs ready to go throughout the week. You can grab, heat them up in the microwave really quick, eat them cold if you like. That's always a super easy option as well. Of course, another one of my favorites when I'm in a bind is I'll just grab a Perfect Bar. Again, it has a good balance of carbs, protein, and fat right there within the bar. Sometimes I'll add a banana or an apple or something just to boost my carb intake if I'm working out in the morning, or just to give me a little bit more calories for a breakfast option. But really, a Perfect Bar could be a meal replacement because they're pretty complete with their macronutrient profile. I also love the oatmeal cups. The Bob's Red Mill has a really good one that doesn't have added sugar. The key there is making sure that it doesn't have any added sugar to it. It's harder to find those, but they're pre-portioned. You just add hot water to them. I also add like a little bit of Kerrygold butter and pure maple syrup. Makes it taste a little bit like a pancake. But that's a really easy grab and go option as well. My next question was tips for traveling and staying healthy while you travel. There's a couple ways I look at this. Usually if I'm traveling for fun or if I have a client traveling for fun, I believe that life should be enjoyed. So hopefully by the time they're traveling, we've already instilled some really good habits. When I'm traveling, I try to kind of stick to one meal a day or one treat a day, which I don't do on my normal life. So if I'm in California, I'm going to eat at a certain restaurant, I'm going to let myself enjoy it, and I'm going to get a drink that I like or a dessert that I like because I'm on vacation and it's fun, and I don't do that very often. And so it's okay every once in a while to kind of let yourself enjoy whatever location you're in. If there's an amazing restaurant that's only in this one area and they have these amazing bananas Foster pancakes for breakfast, then I'm going to try them because I'm not probably ever going to be there again, and I want to just make sure I enjoy my experience. But then I don't let myself completely go off the rails the whole vacation. So if I try one thing that day, then I try to keep the rest of my meals a little bit cleaner and a little bit less calorie dense. If traveling for work, it's a little bit different story. I do have a few clients that travel quite frequently for work, and that makes it a lot more difficult because you're constantly on the road, and so you can't always have that same mentality where you have a treat every day if you're traveling, 30 weeks out of the year. So in that situation, I try to recommend staying as close to a normal routine as possible while you're on the road. So if you travel frequently throughout the week, make sure you plan some workouts. So either drop in at a CrossFit box there. I love doing that because I love seeing the community and other CrossFit boxes and what they do. If that's not feasible for your schedule, I'll usually adjust whatever my CrossFit's workout is and do that at the hotel, whatever version of it that I can. So I'm at least moving and getting some exercise every single day. And then I try to make the same choices I would at home. It's harder when you're eating out, but you can still kind of stick to my template plan when you're on the road. So I try to still keep the lean meats, veggies, minimize the extra fats and excess calories there. The other thing I try to do when I'm traveling for work, I go on volleyball trips a lot, is my first stop when I get there is I'll try to find a grocery store and get whatever foods or snacks that I can have that help keep me on track. So I usually bring a box of Perfect Bars. I'll stop at the store, grab some bananas, apples, maybe some oatmeal. I bring my collagen protein powder. That way I can kind of stick to my normal routine and have some healthy snacks that I can keep with me, so I'm not as tempted to stop and get junk food. The next question I got was regarding supplements. What supplements do I take and recommend? I recommend Puree supplements, of course, for everybody. I think everybody should be taking collagen, omega-3, magnesium, and D3. Those, I think, across the board for every human are always good because we're not getting most of that stuff within our natural diet. Otherwise, I think everything else you should find in your food with a balanced diet. Food is always the best way to get vitamins, minerals, nutrients, all of that stuff. The omega-3, magnesium, and D3 are just much harder to get through diet, which is why I recommend supplementing those. Always check the source too. Supplements, like I said earlier, are very, very weakly regulated. And so you have to find a third-party tested company, a company you can trust. Puree is the top of the line when it comes to their supplements. You can look on their website and see all of the sources. You can see that they have third-party testing on all of their stuff. So it's definitely well worth the investment with those supplements. Other supplements I might recommend, for example, right now I take a prenatal vitamin. So I always recommend that for pregnant moms or moms nursing or trying to get pregnant. If you experience inflammation or gut health issues, then sometimes I'll recommend a turmeric. Usually I'll try to have you season your food with it first. If you're not a big fan of the flavor, as I am not, then supplements might be a better option. That's just kind of a luxury supplement though. I wouldn't say that's a necessary supplement. And then if I have somebody that is really trying to fuel for performance, their goal is performance related, then I'm going to recommend either creatine or some sort of a pre-workout and post-workout supplement to make sure that they're getting adequate fuel for whatever they're doing. And the last question is, what are my recommendations on booze while eating healthy? Clearly, right now, I really miss wine. So I'm a booze fan. Sorry, Mom and Dad. But when it comes to eating healthy and booze, I do think that there should be a balance. Everything there has to be balance in. It's hard for me to survive without booze with kids. So sometimes it's just the best way to unwind at the end of the night. But there are things definitely to consider, of course, with booze. It's definitely a popular subject when it comes to healthy eating. The first thing I would educate you on is that when you have alcohol present in your system, your body will not metabolize food the same way because its main job, technically alcohol is poison in the body. So its main job is trying to metabolize that alcohol to save your life, essentially. So hopefully there's not too much alcohol in there. So it's not going to metabolize food the same way. It's going to store that for the moment and then maybe get to it when it has time. So the priority is to metabolize the alcohol first. So whenever I'm drinking, I do try to keep my food choices a little bit healthier when I'm being a lot stricter on my healthy diet. So if you're going to be drinking, make sure that you keep the food options healthier. The worst combination is a lot of drinking and then that late night carb fat binge. So don't let yourself go through that late night drive-through or order that pizza at 1 in the morning. The other thing I try to do when I'm really trying to eat a little bit healthier is I only give myself a certain amount of what I call units of alcohol a week. So 1 unit of alcohol would be 5 ounces of wine, a normal shot, so 1.5 ounces of clear liquor, or an 8-ounce glass of a cider of some sort. Those are kind of the alcohols that I stick to. I don't really venture too far from that. And then I keep myself to about 6 units a week total. So either one each night. So sometimes if I want to do it that way, I'll just have 1 glass of wine at night just to help unwind. That helps keep the calories in control and also the amount of alcohol so that my body can metabolize food better at a minimum. When I do these units, I also recommend that you don't do more than 3 at a time. So for example, you don't get yourself into that mess of 8 to 10 drinks and then now you're choosing whatever food is placed in front of you, or finding yourself in the drive-thru at McDonald's or Jack in the Box or Taco Bell at 1 in the morning to help sober you up. So the best way when I'm eating healthy is I try to stick to that kind of guideline. When I'm stricter, I try to even go less than that. So because I know that alcohol only makes the weight loss process harder. It's never gonna make it easier, but it does make life easier sometimes. Thanks for tuning in to our first Q&A. Hopefully it was helpful and I answered all your questions for you. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment below or DM me directly at Dead Red Kitchen on Instagram, and I'll get you those answers as quickly as possible. If you like this video, don't forget to let me know by giving it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you soon. From my kitchen to yours, thanks for watching.